people, my peeps. Come on in the room. I was going to wait till I got home to do this, but it has been some drama on the internet streets. And it's interesting because I actually this morning was reading in Leviticus chapter 19, right here out the Bible, chapter 19, verse 29, about, do not prostitute thine daughter. And I was going to come to you guys, I was going to bring you all a full broadcast regarding this topic, and I happen to have my Bible with me, and it actually is an interesting topic because it's some people that have been it was a pastor that I was watching, and other people, and this is regarding the black male, okay, and it seems to me, I have been saying this over and over and over again, that there's an agenda out here. And the black men in America has completely fallen for it. And even if they are preaching or teaching the word, they are taking their talking points from mainstream media personalities, so-called life coaches, okay? They're taking their talking points from these people regarding the black woman. Now, I'm going to say my piece as a black woman, and I'll probably keep coming on, and every time something hits me in my spirit regarding this topic, I will relay it to whoever is interested in watching these videos. So, let me get right into it. I've always said that there is an agenda regarding the black man and woman. And in this day and time, it is not about separating that union further. It's not. No matter how I feel, no matter what has happened to me in my life, no matter what has happened to the black male in his life, a lot of these people that have churches and these camps out here are really preaching separation and degradation of the black woman. Now, coming into the end times, we are here. We are approaching the clock. I mean, if you can't see that time is just speeding up, the days are going by quick. Okay, guys? And before I even get into this chapter, when we finally make it over, okay, if you are so blessed to make it into the kingdom, everyone is on this racism thing. First and foremost, let me say this. Black folks cannot be racist. They can only be biased or bigoted, but they can't be racist. A black person does not have the power, the resources, the financial ability to oppress people. So I want to say that right now. And all of my teachings that when I come on, or most of them, I explain to you that I am not racist, but that is not the correct term to use. But I use that because most people use it, black or white, saying that, if they're talking about a black person, that they can be racist when that's not the fact. Black people can only be a bigot, meaning that they do not like the other race of nations, of people, okay? Now, coming into the end times, knowing that we are getting ourselves, our mind, our body, and our soul prepared to go into the kingdom, if you read your Bible and the word as it is told to you, there is going to be separation of nations. You may serve the Most High God, whatever nation you are, But there will not be no intermingling of races, guys. It's not going to happen. There are not going to be a black man with a white woman or a Spanish woman or another woman of a nation. There is not going to be a black woman with a white man another nation, because in the Bible it was always talked about nation. And if you are of the tribes of Israel, you are definitely not going to be with another nation. This is the hard pill to swallow when reading this Bible. Because what has happened in America and in society is racism and slavery has denigrated the black race, but that's the nation of Israel. I just use black race to make it, to simplify it. They have made it to where they tear each other apart, basically, within the black race, and then you have your racism, people that are racist. Okay, so right now it's a fireball, and I've been on this planet for a little while. Yes, I have. So I've seen the intensity like never before regarding black men with white women, because we just had a couple of weeks ago a black man that was spouting off how he hated black women all on his social media platforms, all up and down his social media platforms. And he was dating a white woman, and that white woman stabbed him to death. Okay? Because they put these stereotypes, and that's all they are stereotypes of other races of women being more docile, being more feminine. And it's a lie. It is simply a lie, because every man that spouts that out of their mouth has not met every woman of the world. So when they spout these type of things out of their mouth, a certain number of people who are ever watching them are hearing this and believing this. So now you have this fireball of black men saying that black women are just bulldogs. Hey, how you doing, Tony? Are bulldogs, basically. That they are not feminine. When that's a lie. Okay? You are going to have good and bad in every nation. Good and bad in every nation, just like we know that every black male is not a thug. But your media would have you to believe that. Let me turn my car off real quick. Burning up gas for no reason. But your mainstream media would have you to believe that, because that is the type of brainwashing that they have been promoting for centuries. For centuries. They would have you to believe that the black woman would not protect her family, her home, or be there in conjunction to work with a black male. Lies. Lies. We know that women, first of all, already outnumber men. That goes for any race of people. It's just so sickening to me watching this come about. And for black men not to be able to see what is going on, the tomfoolery that they are falling for. It's not about going out and getting a white woman because she's docile, because if I just was to tell you about this white woman who stabbed this man to death, the black man to death, that's not docile behavior. That's savage behavior. But if everyone and all the news media outlets were to talk about that over and over and over and over and over again, you would believe more white women are savage. If you went into history, going back into slavery, you would find out that a lot of white women, they actually had to enact the laws because so many white women were killing children and their slaves that they owned. They enacted a law while your black women in slavery were being mistreated, mishandled, but held down households and families. You see what I'm saying? But you would have these men, my counterparts, out here in these internet streets promoting another race as if they have not read one book of went back into history and not just skimmed what they wanted to read, but actually studied. Yeah, go Google that. I had never heard of a law being drafted, a bill being drafted, become a law because black women were killing so many white children and killing so many white men anywhere. Have you heard of this? No. But they would have you to believe that the black woman is the savage and the white woman is docile. That the black woman, when she cries, that her tears are fake. But we have to, you forget that those same tears you say that the black woman has, that when she cries, that they are fake. That they're just churning out of her eyes just to get sympathy. We on this planet know about the white tears. The white tears that have gotten black men killed for centuries to this day. The white tears that have this white woman walking the streets that has not been arrested yet for stabbing a black man to death. Oh, yeah, I know. It's getting heated in here. Because this is all dealing with stereotypes. It deals with stereotypes and projection. Okay, when you have black men that have been hurt or something has gone on in their life, they will project outwards, hiding behind their message of what they really want to say. So they're projecting out their disdain for their own culture, their own women, but in the same instance, they're promoting another culture and another nation, all in the same breath. We have to realize that there has been psychological damage done. You do not get over psychological damage in 1 century, two century, three. It won't happen. And for black men to think that they do not have psychological issues and sit on platforms and project while promoting the separation and divide still will go to show you that there is psychological trauma going on. If you are a follower of the Most High in the Bible, I am here to tell you, when you study the book of Revelations, it truly will blow your mind and devastate you if you are of the other nations on this planet. I am not here to promote or degrade any nation because we've all been psychologically abused and lied to by the powers that be that run this planet. But that is why the Most High says that those strangers will cling onto you when Israel goes into the new kingdom. But they won't be your wife. I'm sorry. If you are here knowing that it is the end times, we are living in the end times, and you are promoting marrying other nations, because you got a few crazy women in your nation, you have not met the world of women. You haven't. Nobody has met everyone on this planet. So to promote separation and divide, you are an agent of I can't get it out. It's just chaos because it's not happening in the kingdom. It's just not. Israel will rule. The other nations will cleave to Israel, and they will come into the nation of Israel when we are made whole again. But they will not be your wives. They will not be your husbands. So now you have black women on the other end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, dogging out black men, separating the divide from hurt. They're projecting out. They're projecting out from self-hate while they are running to these other nations. But trust and believe, this is not nothing new. Why they are there, you're seeing more and more of these women that are going to the other nation of men. Whether you be of the Caucasian race, if you have gone and looked at the census from 2021, they are declining. They are having trouble procreating. I have said this time and time again that there is an agenda. Black men who are Israel, they pride themselves on being able to carry the seed of Israel and procreate with any woman on this planet and make Israel again. But they don't go really deep into that, and that's another story for another day. But they fail to realize that white men carry a seed. They fail to realize that white men carry a seed. If there is a war on your nation, and the people that have been holding you oppressed, hostage, captive for decades, and they know that they are declining, it's not a for instance that you see all of these TV commercials promoting interracial relationships, white man, black woman. You didn't see that in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. You saw that now in the late 2000s, mid to late 2000s. Why is that? Because they are declining in their race being able to populate. I have said this before. It might sound ludicrous to you now, but it is what it is. Just like black men, Israel can go out and populate with another race, so can white folks. And they know that the fertile ground is in Israel, the black woman of Israel. That is the agenda. They are trying to sustain life here. So if they have a baby with a black woman, is that baby considered black? No, you hear I'm mixed. There's no such thing as I'm mixed. We're going to have so much of a nation, but the Most High knows how to preserve his seed, his bloodline. And do you not think that they have not studied this? They're trying to preserve their seed, their bloodline as well. So that child that white man has with a black woman will be considered. Well, you heard Biden say it. I don't know why y'all don't be paying attention to what these people slick. They mouth is slick. Your leaders' mouths are slick. They tell you over and over and over again what the plan is, what's coming. But you are so ingrained in sex and popping off and doing what you're doing and wanting to have a weak woman or what? Not modest. The other nations is not walking around here modest. Okay, but docile. When they over here stabbing y'all up to death. They got laws out against the other race of women because they was killing up so many black slaves, children, and women. Let me get into this for you black men. When I was reading this morning, this was Leviticus chapter 19, chapter 19, verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter, to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness. I'm going to read that one more time, and then I'm going to make a point. And this is to my black men out here. This is the Most High God talking to the Levitical priest, telling the Levitical priest how to preach and teach in the nation because the Most High God said so. Okay? Everybody's not a priest. This is what people don't understand. In the Old Testament, God ordained these priests, the Levitical priests, to preach the word, to teach the nation. Okay? I'm going to read this one more time. Do not prostitute thy daughter, to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness. Black men, let's go back a little ways. This scripture says, do not prostitute thy daughter. I know you think this Bible is some hokey doke, some ancient relic, something that just doesn't make sense, something that just wasn't taught to you where you can understand it in today's times. Well, I'm just going to try to help you out just a little bit. I'm not no Levitical priest. I'm not a priest at all. I'm just trying to teach and help people understand that this is a teaching of how to live. This is something that God gave the Israelites. God said, don't go whoring your daughter out here. Men, because you are the upholders of the nation. Don't go whoring your daughters out here, because if you whore your daughters, then your land will fall to wickedness. Well, guess what? All these rap songs from all the way, I say early 80s through the 90s. Let's not forget Shake What Your Mama Gave Ya, okay? I was out there shaking, I didn't know it because I was young and dumb, just like most of y'all. But thank God I'm not, the Gen X and all that right now, y'all gonna have some issues. Listening to men who won't relate the Bible truly. The Most High God said, "Don't go whoring your daughters." Do you think that meant he was just saying, "Don't go putting them on the corner"? That's because that's probably the most logic that most people can even think of. Whoredom. No. Men in the rap game hoard their daughters. You see. It doesn't have to be your biological daughter. You see, you hoard your daughters of Israel when you had them shaking what their mama gave them, all on the video. Pop that, pop that P. And then you have all this music, brainwashing, cycling, over and over and over again. And you can't try to blame Carly B, because she wasn't back then. Women did not dominate the rap game then. So we're going to be real. We're going to be real today. Women did not dominate the rap game. When women came into the rap game, their clothes was baggy. They wasn't showing all the body. They might have had some foul language, some foul lyrics, but it was nothing like today. The horde of the nation of Israel's daughters happened to be by Israel men. You know men that have whored out their daughters, men that knew what was happening in their house. So this is not an attack on men. This is just the truth that nobody wants to talk about because they want to only project but not reflect on what has transpired with the black people of this nation of Israel. The trauma of the black people of the nation of Israel that have gone through 400 years of trauma, Jim Crow, segregation, and y'all still out here marching on Black Lives Matter, which is something false. That you're being used and abused with that false narrative. But you think that you're mentally unaffected. When you don't sit back and say, you know what, we all, black men and black women, have made mistakes, have made issues that pertain to our nation. We all have. You cannot say, you cannot just, well, you can if you choose to, but all you're doing is stagnating the growth. You're not enhancing the growth. You're stagnating it. Because I could be, for example, I could be hateful. I could be mean from the things that I experienced in my past. As a woman holding down a household, going to school full-time, working full-time, working a second job, married to a soldier that was always deployed in some war for 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. Basically being a single mother, but married, you see. While my ex in the military, we were young, helping him to study as well, because there's certain boards you have to pass to make rank, you see. Helping him study and prepare for the board. Knowing that he had so many amount of credits. And see, I'm the type of person, if a school, a job, I don't care if you work at McDonald's, and McDonald's says, we offer classes, we offer certificate classes. I'm the type of person that will promote you to take that class. Take it. Promoting him, helping him. You know, you can go, instead of wanting to be a sergeant, you can be a lieutenant and go black and gold. Because you have a couple of credits, college credits, you see. All you need to do is study this book and I'll help you. No. Let them go their path. But yet and still, there. And then you hear stuff like, you know, after that has crumbled and fallen to the wayside, been there. Because y'all have heard half of the story of my life. Always been there for his children. His exes talked to me. I was never that type of woman. Never. Because working together, I don't care if you knew him before. That was then. This is now. That's how I made it known. Is building strong children mentally. Helping households mentally, physically, financially. So it burns me when I hear all of this rhetoric coming from black men as if they traveled the whole world and met all of the black women in the whole world. No, they haven't. They've been on their block, on their corner. They come into the knowledge. And now all black women is hoes, no good dogs. They're not modest, or they're not docile. They go to work in these corporate jobs. When I hear shit like that, it burns me up because no one knows the there's cultures. Even if you work, I've worked in different aspects in different fields in life. There's always work politics wherever you work at, wherever you work. But in corporate life, that's a whole different beast. And for people to think they're looking in because they've been watching a TV show and they think they see somebody sitting behind a desk or thinking that that is the real life, no. Some people would not even make it in working in corporations. And everybody that works in a corporation is not kissing everybody's ass. That's why they don't like you, Nicole. Because you're not around the water fountain gossiping. You don't have a work husband. You go to work. You tell the truth. But you have my brothers out here thinking they know every woman, everything about every black woman, and don't know the trials and tribulations that black women have gone through. All they know is how to project their feelings, their self-hate, what they have gone through. I could easily have done that as well. Project self-hate from things that I didn't like about myself coming up. Things that I was there when racism was popping off. Still. Okay, coming through the 70s and 80s. Y'all call yourselves 80s babies because you was born in the 80s, but you really was born in the 80s, but you a 90s baby. I won't go there. Okay? You can't experience life if you still a baby. You know what I'm saying? Put that together. It's sad to me that they don't understand the agenda. The agenda is they're trying to save their population. They're dwindling. But if you're wise and if you've cracked this Bible and you know it is over, it is written. We are just riding out. The war is won. We have the victory. The war has been won. The kingdom is to come. But in that kingdom, there are going to be separations of nations. And we're not going to sit here and not I sit here and say, oh, that's racist. No. Nobody's going to be racist. That's going to pass away. The Most High had already established order. And this is what people don't want to realize because they want to stay in la la land. The order is Christ, man, woman, child. In the nation, Christ, man, woman, child, Israel, other nations, other nations, other nations. That's going to be the order. Israel will be the rulers of the new planet, the new world. So to promote all of this separation, to get with the other nations, just because you're mad and you're hateful or you think you're going to be spiteful, I'm gonna get with a white woman. Go get you a white woman. They're more docile. No, they got laws. White women, they made laws because they kill us. But no, truly, they have laws. They had to make a law that because white women was killing, but they docile. Look, stop making just grandiose judgments about everyone. White, black women, they so mean, and so black women have been holding down houses for millennia. Know how to put some ramen noodles and some eggs and some sausage together and make you a meal when you ain't got nada, nothing. Y'all need to come off of this bogus narrative that you have. Promoting going to the other races at this day and time is ludicrous because it's about to be over with. Promote getting into the kingdom. The kingdom is at hand. That is what you should be promoting. The kingdom is at hand. Do you want to go? And this is how you go. This is how you get into the kingdom. Repent. Repent of your sins and follow the commandments. And I'm going to, before I get out of here, I want to show you also in the same book, because this blew me away. I was writing all up and down here. Y'all see all those doodles and notes that talks about the nations and how you should treat the other nations. Okay? Nations, and if you don't know what I mean by nations, black folks, white folks, but it's going to be the white folks and Chinese folks that come into the kingdom. These are the nations. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so Leviticus, and I'm going on to talk about the nations because I tapped into that real quick. Chapter 19, verse 34. But the stranger, when it mentions the stranger in the Bible, that is referring to the other nations, my people, my peeps. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you. You, and thou shalt love him as thyself. For ye were strangers, hello, in the land of Egypt. If you know anything about Israel, the nation of Israel, the tribes, the 12 tribes, we are scattered. We are in captivity still. In America, this is considered spiritual Egypt. The Most High brought out the Israelites out of the land of Israel. So here it is talking to you right now, my Israelites, brothers and sisters. The stranger, that means a white folk, Chinese folk. You treat them, you love them, okay? Thou shalt love him as thyself. For ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. We're in the land of Egypt right now. We're waiting for the second Exodus. And I am the Lord your God, okay? He's reminding you, when you were in the land of Egypt, right now, spiritual Egypt, where we're at, waiting for the next Exodus, how you had some white folks loving you, caring about you, some Chinese folks loving you. I done been to Europe. I had a German not step parents, what do they call them? Godparents. There are people of other races that will love you, love Israel, love Chinese people, and Chinese people. They're gonna love you, and that is how you're supposed to treat them, because there were people of other nations that helped, Harriet Tubman get folks free in slavery, and they just might be them same people that's gonna be in the new kingdom. So it's not that anybody's promoting, not loving and caring for the other nations. The promotion needs to be fixing your own nations, not telling your people to run to the other nations to cleave unto as husband and wife, because it's not going down in the new town of Israel in the Bible. It's not happening. And you know that. Fix your own nation. And if you can't find a wife, if you can't find a husband, then you need to be like Peter and be celibate, abstinence. Because all of this, I don't even want to go into some of the teachings I see on YouTube of not having sex for a while. And no, none of that goes down. It's either abstinence, celibacy, or nothing, or marriage. Because if you don't marry, you will burn. Because fornication, but see, y'all got me, I'm about to start preaching. I ain't no preacher. I'm just letting you know. My black men, y'all need to cut it out with all these teachings. Stop projecting, and stop directing your men, our men, to other races of people. This is not no hate speech because I just went over it in the Bible. This is, you need to start building your nation back right and start saying how you're going to do that. How are you going to do that? It's not go to another nation because it's not happening. It's not. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. That's just how it's going to go down in the new kingdom to come. Stop whoring out your daughters of Israel. All right, guys. I'm out, and much, much love.